buried me in the water and I came, I knew. Now I'm baptized in blue.
Welcome to the Officer Autumn podcast. I am the host, Autumn Clifford. I'm really excited to have you here as always. If you are enjoying this music or if it's piquing your interest, this is music by One Time Music. Go find him on Instagram. You can go download his music anywhere that you can download music. He is a fellow law enforcement officer. You can listen to the entire song of Baptized in Blue at the end of this podcast episode. This podcast episode is brought to you by the Lady Sheepdog Club. If you are a female first responder craving more education, more training, more support, more mentorship, or you are a future first responder, check out the Lady Sheepdog Club. It's a membership designed exactly for our women going into law enforcement or who are in law enforcement. Go to ladysheepdog.com for more information. Enjoy this podcast episode. Welcome. I'm excited to have you here to another episode of the Officer Autumn Show with me, your host, obviously, Autumn. Today, I want to ask you to do me a favor. Could you rate this show if you've enjoyed this, or if you get to the end of the show or whatever and you've enjoyed this? Could you please give us a rating? I haven't asked for ratings in a couple of years, and I could surely use your support. It'll boost the podcast and get more people to see and hear about us, which would be really great for me. So wherever you are, if you could rate this in whatever platform you are listening to this podcast, I would greatly appreciate it. Shout out to our sponsors, which is the Honor the Brave program. If you aren't familiar with them, go follow them on Instagram. Go check their website out. It's police officer and his wife, and the police officer was injured and in the line of duty, and they started this company, and it's a program, and it's amazing, and it literally gives back to military and first responders whenever we buy houses or buy or sell them. So it's like it's a literal no-brainer. You want to get to know them. They're a great company. So shout out to Honor the Brave. You'll be able to go in my show notes and go check them out. Today, what we're going to talk about is, I'm pretty deep in my feels, I'll be honest. I was interviewed for a podcast. It's called Chase the Vase. I'm excited to share with you when that comes out. I will be sharing it across all my platforms so that you can hear me. But he asked me some really good questions that got me thinking. And every day that I record a podcast, and I've done this from the beginning, we're over 165 episodes. I believe this is episode 165 from the life of my podcast. I always sit down and I ask God, the universe, what you need to hear. What is it that you need to hear today from me? So just know that every time you're on this show of mine, what you're hearing is by no mistake. You are divinely guided here through whatever power you believe in. And I want you to know that that is how I come up with my content, is I always ask that question. And today I'm going to share with you a little bit about my experience and how I feel about women in law enforcement. Now, there's been, I've helped men, and I will never stop helping men. My focus is just on mentoring women right now. And we're going to talk about why. And why it's so meaningful to me, and why I stand behind it, even when many people have accused me of being sexist or one-sided, or, forgetting about my male counterparts. And I just want you to know that I have never and will never forget about males or females if I'm serving one or the other. But I have known for a while that I needed to be serving the women, and I'm going to share with you why, okay? I started this job when I was 20 years old, okay? And the reason I became a police officer was because I wanted to be a role model. I am not going to tell you that I haven't had different role models throughout my life, but I've never had a role model that didn't let me down. One time or another, a role model let me down. Pretty drastically. And I grew up, I'm an only child, And I just said to myself, like, fuck, I just want to be that solid woman for the young girl or the young woman who needs me. I just want to be that solid person for her. And I'm not saying I'm nowhere near perfect. I have a lot of flaws. I do make my flaws very public. I'm very honest about them. I'm not trying to be fake. You're not going to catch me looking fake or acting fake. It's not who I am. Go ahead and take a look at all my social medias. Very, very real. And so that is why I became a police officer. During the time that I was a police officer, I struggled. And I struggled with trying to learn how to be a woman in law enforcement. And the reason I struggled was there was nobody for role models for me. And we're going to talk about that because it affected me. And when I got on patrol, I took my job very seriously. And I took my role as a woman in police work very seriously. And I wanted to be around women who other men respected. There was very clearly women who men respected in the job and women who men did not respect in the job. And I, for one, did not want to be a woman that men did not respect. I have, been on the other side of that in my younger years. There was misconceptions. There was bad rumors based off of my actions and being flirtatious when I wasn't trying to be. I have a very bubbly personality, or had, and people would misconstrue that. And that is why you get the trainings that I get. And that's why I go public and I say the shit that I say, like because I've been there. I've done it. I know the repercussions. And I know that there's a lot of girl gang within the, law enforcement realm. And they're like, Autumn, like you're fucking bashing us for being beautiful. You're bashing us for being feminine. And it's like, no, I'm not. I just am telling you right now what that kind of thing brings and what that brings to us, as a culture in law enforcement. And I know that firsthand. So you can get mad at me. You can you can judge me. You can all the things. But this is my story. And this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. So that's that. So as I tell you this story, please understand this is the basis of it. I had nobody. I literally had nobody, okay? And I made a lot of dumb decisions because I had nobody. Then when I got on patrol, I said, okay, because I worked for a while before patrol, and I was a transport deputy slash, it was court security deputy, but you can call it a judicial marshal if you want. It's the same thing. But I was a deputy. And so I said to my FTO, I said, hey, listen, like, I know there's like female cops that like you guys respect and like, women that you don't respect. Like, who do you respect? And in the area, and being in Maine, it's very, very like policing is a very small community, because I think we only have like 1,000 or so in the entire state, right? So like, we know everybody. We all go to the exact same academy. We all know everybody. And if I don't know who you are, I've heard about you. And if I haven't, somebody very close to me has. This is just how it is. So in my FTO, somebody who I very much respect to this day, this guy, he really taught me a lot. And he's old school, and he had been on the job for like 13 years. And prior to me getting with him on FTO. And so he had been around a lot, a while, and knew everybody. And he really did. He knew everybody. And so, he told me, and I went and I studied these women. I literally would study them. I would go on ride-alongs with them. I would interview them. I would spend time with them. I paid attention to how they acted, how they conducted themselves. I paid attention to like when they were doing things that I was like, whoa, what are you doing? And I paid attention to, when they were very well put together, when they really just came off like they handled their shit. I paid attention to their confidence. I paid attention to when they, when they knew what they were doing and they knew they were in their lane. Like, I just paid attention to it all. And I also paid attention to the women that the men did not respect, okay? And I took a lot of notes. And that really was, that was my basis, plus along with my experiences on how I kind of started mentoring women. And the reason, I feel so deeply about this is because the job is different for us. And not only with that, because like men, you can come into the job and you can pick someone to look up to. You know what I mean? There's a bunch of men, and I'm not going to say there's a bunch of squared away men, but there are some, and there's more obviously squared away men than there are women in the job. So you have like a less hard time. You know what I mean? It's a less harder of a time for you. And that's fine. Like, don't think I'm bitching, whining, or complaining. I'm just stating facts are facts. And I think that's another thing that like I just want to reiterate, and it's a whole different podcast episode, and I probably will do it next week, but like, we're not victims. I'm not a victim. I'm a woman. I chose to come into this profession, and I'm not a fucking victim. And it doesn't matter all the shit that has happened to me. You could look at me like I'm a victim. There's been a lot of things that have happened. I choose not to look at myself that way. And I would just encourage you as a woman to not look at yourself that way. Or even if a man's listening to this, like, choose not to be a victim of your circumstances, no matter what they are. I just choose to educate. I just choose to say the truth and talk about my experiences and help women the way that I know how I helped myself make a good reputation for myself and be solid and be the girl that, I still get calls, I get texts, I get emails from agencies today. Like, I still get job opportunities, and that says something. Okay. So if I was a mess, nobody'd want me. You know what I mean? So I wanted to talk about this today. And so I want to talk to you about a situation that happened. So, and what really solidified me wanting to come and be a mentor. And I'm hoping this is going to resonate with you, because if it hasn't yet, it could, eventually happen to you. And I don't want it to, but I want to talk about it. So I've talked to you in the past about how like I've definitely been like harassed. I've definitely been spoken to in ways that definitely I would say were inappropriate, and how I've had to handle that and stuff. So, but this isn't that per se. I'm going to tell you about a situation. The day that I knew I wanted more than just policing. It was back in 2014, and I had just done, so we had a call. I was working evenings. I could have even been on a double. So that'd have been a second, third double. I was known to do a lot of doubles because I would swap with like different guys so that we would have 3 days. I really believe in a 3-day off schedule for cops, because the first day you're never even off, right? So I really believe in the 4 and 3 schedule. We worked a 4 and 2. And so what I would do is I would work 3 days a week. And what I would do is, or my work week, and on one of those days I would work a 16-hour day, so that I could have 3 days off, and then I would have somebody do the exact same for me, and it really worked out. So I'm probably on a second, third double, and so I'm already pissed, right? Like, we're all whatever, and it's raining, and a tractor trailer or a truck or some fucking thing runs into a fire hydrant, okay? And it knocks the fire hydrant over, and there's water spouting everywhere, okay? So the dispatcher comes over the air and is like, headquarters 31, 10-3, go to this call, go to this crash, what I just told you happened, and a fire hydrant has been tipped over, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I said 10-4. I'm on my way over, and I start going through. So I'm going through the checklist in my head. This is what officers do. So it's not that complicated to be an officer. When it's like a lot of like low stress calls, it gets very complicated when it's high stress and we have to make a decision right then, right there. That's where the complicated shit comes in. Everything else really is pretty basic, and everything is like a checklist, and it doesn't much vary, in my opinion, from situation to situation. It's like, okay, did this happen? Then we do this. Did this happen? Then we do this. Did this happen? Then we do this. And like, that's just kind of how it goes. So I'm going through my list in my head of like, okay, I've never dealt with this before. So here's what I'm thinking is going to happen. I'm going to have to fucking block traffic. Man, I really could use FD because I don't know what I'm not going to be able to go stop like the fire hydrant. That's like totally their realm. So like, I just simply said 3-1 headquarters. Did you happen to dispatch FD? And the dispatcher, this old crusty fucking son of a bitch, he hated me. He hated me. I think he does not like women, period. But, he definitely didn't like me. And let me just say, if you don't like strong-willed women, then you probably don't like me. Because I don't know if they come much more strong-willed than I do. But so, anyways, he is so mad because he feels like I just questioned his like authority or questioned his ability to do his fucking job. And it really wasn't that for me. It was going through a checklist in my head. I didn't know. He did not tell me. Nobody fucking told me. I'm going code, which means lights and sirens. I have no fucking idea if he contacted FD or not, right? So so he's pissed, and I get the mic click, the typical dispatch fucking, just a whatever, which I'm pissed about. I'm like going through the fucking roof because there's nothing worse than I hate is a fucking inadequate, lazy dispatcher. There's nothing I hate more. And I'm going to tell you why. I know that job is hard. You want to know how I know that? Is because I used to have to fucking dispatch. At the beginning of my career, I had to do that in order to pass FTO. And then before I got injured or while I was injured, I was dispatching, and we would have to dispatch. An officer would have to rotate. My entire career on thirds, an officer would have to rotate into dispatch if dispatch was short. Okay. And that happened a lot, especially in the winter. And so I have experience, and quite a bit of it, more than I would ever want, of dispatching. Like, I have experience of that. And so I know it's not a good job because you want to fall asleep. You're bored. You're sitting there. You're like, oh my God. And then other days you're so busy, like you don't even know which way is up. And I get that. And I respect that. But here's the thing. We do have a lot of lazy motherfuckers who are dispatchers because, let's be honest, who else wants that job? And I'm not trying. We do have some great ones. Okay. But I'm telling you right now that there are a lot of lazy ones, and lazy dispatchers fuck us bad. I'm going on a tangent about dispatchers. No offense. I mean, I have a lot of friends that are dispatchers. And, I make it very public. Like on Dispatchers Day, like on my social media profile, I always say, if you are a good dispatcher, happy Dispatchers Week. But if you suck, quit. Because it is so frustrating. There's so much. That's a whole different fucking rant. But anyways, so this fucking guy goes and tells my sergeant about basically how I undermined him and don't trust him to do his job and whatever. My fucking sergeant, displaying awful leadership, calls me and essentially reams me the fuck out and is like, you have undermined so-and-so, which is the dispatcher's names, like authority and his ability to do his job, and like he knew he was calling FD. There was no need of you to do that. I'm like thinking, oh really? Because how many times have we done that? How many times is the officer like, hey, did you do this? Hey, did you send an ambulance? Hey, did you send rescue? Hey, is FD coming? Hey, you gotta send a tow truck? Hey, right? A lot. But because it was me and it was this particular situation, I got in trouble. And I'll never forget that. Obviously. I mean, this happened fucking 2014, okay? And we're in 2022. So, like I can remember as clear as day because I didn't deserve what I got. That night they all had dinner at the police department and they kept me on the road, and they kept me on the road on fucking purpose, if you know what I mean. Okay. They kept me busy on purpose. They didn't want me at the PD. And that dispatcher would ask me to go and pick him up his food and all that stuff. And believe me, if I didn't do it, they'd be held to pay. That's not right. Okay, that's not right. I had nobody to talk to about it. None. Because the women that were at this police department were so fucked in the head, it's not even funny. Because they got beat down and they didn't have anybody. And they didn't like their self-worth. They did not value their self-worth the way that I valued my self-worth. I mean, this police department had 5 women, and I'll tell you right now, in the history of that department, no woman has gotten higher than corporal. Corporal. Listen. There's some dumb motherfuckers in their leadership right now, and they're males. There's just no need of this, okay? So does sexism exist? Yes, it does. I don't care what anybody says. Now, I think it should just be the best person, male or female, doesn't fucking matter, for the position. But that's not how some places, the majority of places, see things right now. So it is my job to teach you as a woman how to be the absolute best officer you could possibly be, how to survive this career, how to have the best mindset so that there is no other option. You are the best candidate for the position. That's why I come down on, my social media talks about being squared away. That's why I come down and say on these women and say, get the fuck out of the bikini all over your social media. Okay? Because people are watching you. And if you want to move up, that could prohibit you. Each department is different, whatever. And so that's why I do what I do, is because that was the night that I called my mother, obviously, who else am I going to call? Crying in my patrol car, parked in the Shaw's parking lot, which is like a Costco. It's a grocery store. And I'm crying. I'm parked over in this corner, and I'm crying, and I'm telling her, I said, Mom, I just can't fucking do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. Like, I didn't deserve that. And again, listen, there was a whole lot more stuff that was compounded onto this, because there's you guys are like, Autumn, really? That's all that happened and you're that upset? But if you can understand that it's always more compounded, but when you understand that this dispatcher continuously gave me shit, I was being excluded from, dinners, shift dinners. That sergeant didn't even listen to my side. It didn't even see it from my side. And he just fucking came down on me because he's buddies with a dispatcher. And I felt excluded, and I felt very targeted. And And I just was like, you know what? But this is not, I'm not the only one. And that night I said to my mother, I said, okay, Mom, I can't do this anymore. And I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm going to write a book. That's what I told her. I'm like, I'm going to write a book. And she's like, okay, what are you going to write a book about? I'm going to write a book. So I want every female cop to never have to go through this shit again. I don't want any woman, male, female, doesn't matter. I don't want anybody to go through that. And the fact is I can't stop that, but I can tell you that you're not alone. And I can tell you that I feel your pain. And while I probably don't know the exact situation that you're going through, I want you to know that another woman does. And it is very important to me that you know that there are women who have your back, who genuinely will just have your fucking back, who just not going to talk shit about you, who's not threatened by you, none of that. Because she's over here working on her own stuff. I have a women's membership club. It was formerly known as the Lady Sheepdog Club, but we are going through a complete up-level rebrand. And anyways, it's filled with women from across the country and Canada, police officers and future police, like ones going through the process. And these women are some of the most supportive, badass women I've ever met. And they're not bullshit women. I mean, we got canine handlers in there. We got a sergeant in there. I mean, we got girls, serious city cops in there. We got girls doing big things. And they fucking build each other up. And that's why I created that, is because I wish I could have had that spot to be able to be like, guys, this is what just happened. I'm ready to flip the fuck out. What did I do wrong? And to have a group of women that I respect because they're cops and they're cool and they're working on being squared away and all the things to have my back. I felt like that would have really, really helped me in many situations. Right. And so that's why I'm here. And I don't know. I just want you to know that it's hard to be a woman in this job. Straight up. We're not victims. We talked about it, but it's hard. It's hard. It is hard. You know, you get a new hairstyle, they're all going to talk about it. You fucking get a new boyfriend, they're all going to talk about it. You do anything different, they're going to talk about it. Like, it's just the way that it is. And some of it's fine. Some of it's fine. There's some agencies, I do get comments from women who are like, no, like, they literally just feel like my family, like my brothers. And I'm like, honestly, that is so awesome. But then there's a lot of women who are like, I feel like I just got fed to the wolves. These fuckers hate me. Like, nothing I'm doing is working. Like, what do I do? And I just want to tell you that I'm here for both of those women. And that I get it. I don't have all your answers, but what I do have, are a set of skills. And these skills, you guys remember that from Taken? Liam Nelson. Okay. But what I do offer, and what I'm just preaching continuously, is to get your shit together and be the best, most squared away, well put together beast of an officer that you can be. Be educated. Go above and beyond everybody else. Do everything you can do because you want to do it. Be who you are, you know? Be the badass you are. Don't let them beat that out of you. And you're going to be fine, you know? I always want to just highlight, I talked about this today on that other podcast I was interviewed on, but I'm going to probably talk about it every single podcast episode, is happiness over everything. Don't ever forget that. Don't forget why you started this fucking job. And don't forget that your number one job in life is to be happy. God did not put us here on this fucking earth for all of us to be miserable. I'm telling you right now. And if that triggers you, that's your own shit. You might want to take a look in the mirror and figure out why that bothers you. Okay? Happiness over everything. That's going to go on my tombstone. I hope this was helpful. I hope you enjoyed this. If you want to be a part of that membership club, which is currently called Lady Sheepdog, but won't be for much longer, I'm going to put the link below. Don't forget to check out Honor the Brave. And if you have not rated us, or if you haven't in a while, can you please go back and wherever you're listening to this, can you give us a rating? It'd be just so good. Or a review or whatever the fuck you call it. I really appreciate that. That is how this podcast is going to grow. Share this if you liked it. Come see me on the socials, Officer Autumn, anywhere you can find me. And I will see you next week.
They buried me in the water and I came, I knew. Ha ha. Now I'm baptized in blue. I'm a winner, never quit. I refuse to lose. I got heart and I got grit. I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a fighter, never winner, never quit. I refuse to lose. I got heart and I got grit. I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. They buried me in the water in the Holy Ghost. I came out with a badge and gun and a heart that said never run. I signed up for a job you wouldn't dare to do. This ain't no green screen movie, don't compare the two. We look at your actions in the elements and everything relevant. If they line up, prepare to pay the consequence. You do dirt, you get cuffed, no bluff. It's ignorant to think we will shoot with your hands up if you the police. You feel the world is against you, like every call you go to, people trying to tempt you. Well, Hail Mary, Hail Mary, Hail Mary. I ride on the devil, I ain't scary, and I ain't worried. You want my life, come take it, it's gonna be a fight. I take it to the light, like Will and Bright. I wouldn't expect you to understand what I do, only the thin blue line, cause they baptized in blue. I'm a fighter, I'm a winner, never quit. I refuse to lose. I got heart and I got grit. I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a fighter, never winner, never quit. I refuse to lose. I got heart and I got grit. I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I can't explain the pain when I see a name on the wall. All I feel is rage, put me in a cage, let me brawl. Sometimes I can't help but cry, like why did he die? I know it was him, but it could have been I. What about the kids? What about the spouse? Yeah, now who gon' put food inside them babies' mouth? It's a bigger picture when I officer down. Domino effect, Blue Nation, family, country, and town. The media don't cover us, well maybe Fox, cause MSNBC and CNN surely don't care about cops. Politicians more concerned about protecting the legal instead of laying the law down and protecting the people. Let me get off my soapbox before I curse. I don't seen way too many cops riding in hearse. Well, I wouldn't expect you to understand what I do, only the thin blue line, cause they baptized in blue. I'm a fighter, I'm a winner, never quit, I refuse to lose. I got heart and I got gritty, I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a fighter, never winner, never quit, I refuse to lose. I got heart and I got gritty, I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. If I'm faced with a mission, I'm gonna complete it. If that means being deleted, I live with the credence. I do this for the combat vets and LEOs. When I'm suited, ready to go, it's either friend or foe. Only Lord knows what my future's in store. I only kill with the hope to see more, so God don't close that door. If I take a life, it's him or me, with the hopes to survive, not bigotry. I go in situations that you cannot imagine, deal with things that you cannot fathom. Know it, but I'd rather fight for a cause than live for nothing. So when you read my headstone, you know I died for something. You hypersensitive, she complain by justified force. You blame the cops first, that don't work, you blame the courts. But I wouldn't expect you to understand what I do, only the thin blue line, cause they baptized in blue. I'm a fighter, I'm a winner, never quit, I refuse to lose. I got heart and I got gritty, I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a fighter, never winner, never quit, I refuse to lose. I got heart and I got gritty, I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue. I'm a warrior that's been baptized in blue.